Two events have Chinese social media in a frenzy this week and raise all sorts of questions about how people react to someone in distress. Joining me in studio now is Maureen Fan, who reported from China for the Washington Post until 2009. And Maureen, thanks so much for joining us here on Link TV.
Happy to be here.
Sad to be here under these circumstances, though, to talk about two really disturbing incidents. And the first one involved a young woman.
A young Chinese girl tried to drown herself in a city park. She was assisted by a foreign woman, possibly an American, who jumped in and rescued her. The story went viral, partly because bystanders, mostly Chinese, did nothing to help. I have a sampling of posts here. The first one was addressed to the rescuer. I'm so moved, not only by your courage, but by the fact that you immediately left after doing the good deed. Another said, a beautiful American, and those ugly to the bone bystanders.
Maureen, it sounds as if there is so much shame in some of these responses, people just outraged over the lack of a response there. And we've got another incident that has a much less happy ending, and I warn you, this video is quite graphic. This one involves a toddler.
A 2-year-old girl in the southern city of Foshan was hit by a van. The driver stopped, but then drove off, and he ran over the girl's legs again.
I cannot believe this watching this video. It's just amazing.
It's really awful. As the security camera shows, at least a dozen passerbys did nothing to help the little girl. They hardly seemed to even notice her. And another truck ran over her, and it also didn't stop. Finally, an older woman stopped and called the police. The reaction online was immense. 1.5 million hits to a YouTube-like site in China called Youku. And there are so many responses. Here's just a sample. One said, this is the fault of the hit-and-run drivers, of society as a whole, of the social system in China. It is the system that forces people to hide their conscience. Here's another one, 20 people, none willing to help. It's a collective cold heart. It demands collective deep reflection. Finally, those who are willing to help must be prepared to get sued.
Well, that one's really disturbing. What does he mean by that? I know that the friend of one of the drivers arrested was quoted as saying the man didn't stop because he didn't want to pay money. What does that mean?
It's quite common to pay compensation in China, especially for traffic accidents, even when no one's at fault. And so the driver must be thinking to himself, if she passes away, then I'll have to pay a certain amount. But if she survives, I'll have to pay years of medical treatment.
Well, what about the Post warning that Good Samaritans can get sued?
Well, that's true. Most people will cite a really infamous case from about 5 years ago in the city of Nanjing involving a guy named Peng Yu. And he stopped to help an elderly woman who had fallen, and then she turned around and blamed him for causing the fall.
What?
You know, there's no evidence that he was at fault. But the court's logic was if he hadn't caused the damage, he wouldn't have tried to help her. So lots of people have criticized this case, but you know, the damage has been done and everyone knows it. And this is only one case, the most high profile. There's many others just like it.
So what do you think? Is it just the fear of lawsuits that keep people from helping?
Well, yes and no. I think a lot of the people who have said that they can sympathize with the reluctance to get involved, they blame everything from the Cultural Revolution to the education system, to the legal system, even the Ministry of Health, which issued guidelines on how to help elderly people who have fallen. They said don't rush in, and different situations call for different tactics. But I would also say that right now Chinese people are really hurting over this. They're hand-wringing, they're concerned about their society. Many people do offer to help, but that doesn't really make the news.
And I think in this particular case, or at least recently, social media has given them a different outlet to express their emotions.
Absolutely. People, I think, are much more bolder than in the past, and they will say what bothers them. They will call people out.
Maureen, thanks so much. Maureen Fan has reported from China for the Washington Post.
Link TV is the only U.S. network dedicated to global and national news, uncompromising documentaries, and diverse cultural programs. Programs which connect you to the world. To learn more, visit linktv.org.